Hey folks, after the last video I made about stuff I'd like to see in Marvel Rivals, a lot of stuff happened, including that video performing way better than I could have anticipated. So thank you to the people who watched it and enjoyed it. In this installment, I wanted to acknowledge the comments on that video as a show of appreciation, cover characters those commenters want to see, though not in as much detail, and then cover the announcements for Season 6.5. So, let's get started. There are a couple of comments saying, nice video, or great video, which I am grateful for, but there are a couple more interesting ones that I want to cover in depth. Starting first with this one by Kix611, which is rather long. To summarize, they don't want Doctor Doom to be playable because he's the main villain of Rival's story, and making him playable means it's pretty much over. Then suggesting that for someone like Thanos, having a mode where 12 people stop him from collecting the Infinity Stones, which is an awesome concept. The story was what I mentioned keeping Doom from playability in the prior video, and I do agree with Kix's take here. The Thanos boss fight idea is also really cool, and maybe they could work that into the next PvE mode. Kix gets a gold star. Following up on Doom, Quincy_Morris says, Loki is a major factor in certain maps, but is still a playable character, which goes against the points made condemning Doom's inclusion, yet is still a good point that I had not thought of. Next up, in regards to Nightcrawler, Dr. Tigglenips, interesting name, says, Dude, I seriously love Nightcrawler too. You've basically summed up everything I like about him in your description. My only critique is that I think that his recolor should be his uncanny X-Force suit, although I do like the idea of white and blue for his mother. I'm glad that my summation resonated with someone, and I did have a short discussion with this commenter, and they recommended Age of Apocalypse and Uncanny X-Force to me, which I now plan to read at some point. Thank you, Dr. Tigglenips. When I read those books, I shall remember your suggestion. As a quick outfit follow-up, Chilled Out Nate says, I would love to see an Iron Lad or Ultimate Cap skin at some point, both of which I mentioned. I'm glad someone shares my taste in outfits somewhat. Now for rapid fire characters. The first comment I received in the video, by Otterfire4712, shows a desire for Green Goblin. At present, we have a stark lack of villain representation, so he would help to solve that problem. Perhaps he would be suited as a flyer-type duelist who rains pumpkin bombs on his foes for massive damage. Continuing the villain theme, PerkCG would like to see Mr. Sinister. Unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with his background, but I do know that he has taken mutant DNA and used it to empower himself, so perhaps a Vanguard with self-buffing could make sense. Departing the villain category, Josiah Artis 4207 wants to see Blink, another character I know tragically little about, with my only real exposure being X-Men Days of Future Past 2014. But I think I get the gist. An idea I thought up involves placing portals to catch enemy projectiles, then launching them right back with another. As for her role, I don't really know, but a duelist seems right enough. Finally, FE0408 wants to see Sentry, another one I wish I knew more about. I'm seeing a pattern here. My main knowledge of his character comes from Thunderbolts, and I'm less familiar with his comic traits, but with what little I know, a Vanguard makes enough sense. Maybe playing like Angela, but with a higher emphasis on frontline fighting. Now for Season 6.5 news. Starting with the obvious, Elsa Bloodstone has been shown off officially, being revealed as a duelist. Upon multiple viewings of the trailer, I can't quite get a read on her kit. She seems to be quite proficient in mid-range combat, with good maneuverability to boot, having an air dash. She seems to have a shotgun and a rifle akin to a Winchester. I'm not a guns guy. And her ultimate summons a monster that can grab enemies and take them off of cliffs, or can be called back for a devastating combo. Seems pretty good so far, but we'll see how she fares in game soon enough. As for team-ups, the FF's team-up is being removed. What? Why? Whatever. Invisible Woman is teaming up with Doctor Strange to empower the Maelstrom of Madness with a suction move? The Thing is teaming up with Hulk to get Gamma boxing gloves. And Mr. Fantastic is teaming up with Rocket Raccoon to bank elasticity over 100 and activate it at will instead. That's actually really good. Elsa and Deadpool team up to seemingly annoy the enemies to death. That's about it. As for detailed hero adjustments, I'll let the pros handle those. Elsa's launch ult is from her first appearance, apparently. I'm woefully unfamiliar with her history, so I won't be the one to fact check here. The new event pass is animal themed, featuring Rocket, Squirrel Girl, and another Jeff legendary skin. How many does he have now? Too many! I apologize for the crash out. I just don't understand why Jeff gets all of these, while multiple characters don't even have one. Gambit and Rogue are finally receiving their wedding outfits, though they are, unfortunately, tied to a pseudo-gacha mechanic that they did with Psylocke's Daring Daifuku skin in December. Aside from that, both are legendary and look really good with custom VFX to boot. I just have to not go broke gambling for them. New alt VFX for Iron Fist's Lunar New Year skin and Rinsu's wedding skins. They're okay, I just wish I liked Reed's suit more. Now for the big stuff. On the roadmap, starting on the 13th, has Elsa Bloodstone, her alternate outfit, Mr. and Mrs. X for Gambit and Rogue. The new event pass, Jeff gets a lemonade stand, red envelopes with random amounts of units for Lunar New Year, and a parade to celebrate the union of Gambit and Rogue. On the 20th, Emma Frost and Iron Man get their new Marauders outfits, the Monster Kingdom tournament starts, and two new events, Faulty Dream and Twisted Nightmare, release. On the 27th, Moon Knight gets a Twisted Nightmare outfit, and Phoenix gets her Quiet Council outfit, which I mentioned in Nightcrawler's section of my last video. Cool to see it so soon. On March 6th, Psylocke gets her new Marauders outfit, and Captain America gets a Twisted Nightmare variant, which looks pretty cool. On March 13th, The Thing gets a look based on the comic Fear itself, and Daredevil gets an MCU suit, specifically from Born Again Season 2. That's two things I mentioned in my video. Nice. And finally, on March 20th, Season 7 releases. That's all I've got for this time, folks. Sorry that's shorter than last time, but I wanted to get this out before Elsa Bloodstone's launch. If you watched the last video, or this one, I cannot thank you enough, and I hope some of you stick around for what's to come. I'll be doing some stuff that isn't Marvel after this video, and I hope that it piques your interest. Leave a comment, like, or subscribe if you want, and have a good rest of your day.